At that precise moment, as Marcus Hayes let out a laugh so loud it made everyone in the BMW dealership turn around, none of the three salesmen imagined that this elderly black man in shabby appearance was about to close the biggest sale of the month without even blinking. Mr. James Carter, 64 years old, with his worn jacket and that old backpack hanging from his shoulder, carried something in his wallet that these three would never expect. And what would happen in the next 30 minutes would prove that judging by appearances can cost dearly. The Premium Motors BMW dealership gleamed like a palace of metal and glass in downtown Los Angeles. White, blue, and black luxury sedans lined up like sleeping giants under powerful LED lights. The smell of fresh leather and new car scent floated in the air. This was a place where six-figure deals were closed, where executives arrived in chauffeur-driven vehicles to expand their fleets. And there stood Mr. Carter, with his dusty work boots and graying hair slightly disheveled, walking slowly among those imposing machines. Marcus was the first to see him enter. He exchanged a mocking glance with Derek Wilson, the senior salesman at 46 who was reviewing papers at his desk. Derek raised an eyebrow, sketched a crooked smile. They both knew this type of visitor, curious dreamers, people who came in just to look at what they could never afford. Jason Reed, the sales manager, was adjusting his Italian tie in the bathroom mirror when he heard slow footsteps in the showroom. He came out drying his hands with a paper towel. His trained eyes scanned the newcomer in 2 seconds. Worn clothes, slightly hunched posture, frayed backpack. Immediate conclusion, waste of time. Mr. Carter stopped in front of a gleaming white BMW 7 Series. He ran his weathered hand over the chrome trim. His calm eyes surveyed the cabin, the new tires, the iconic kidney grille. He had driven luxury vehicles like this for 40 years, not as a chauffeur, but as an owner who understood every detail of automotive excellence. But the three men watching him from afar knew nothing of that. They only saw appearances. Marcus approached first, with that excessive confidence of someone who thinks they see everything. He was 35 years old with 3 years selling luxury cars. He thought that made him an expert at reading people. "Excuse me, sir," he said with a condescending tone. "These vehicles are only for clients with scheduled appointments. If you want general information, we have brochures at the entrance." Mr. Carter looked at him unhurriedly. His gray eyes, deep as ancient wells, held the young salesman's gaze. Then he spoke with a calm but firm voice. "I'm going to take 8 BMW cars." The silence lasted barely a second before Marcus burst into laughter. "Wait, before we continue with this incredible story, help me with something quick. Hit that like button on this video right now. Seriously, it takes 1 second. Subscribe to the channel because here you'll find stories that make you think, and comment what city and country you're watching from. I want to know where all of you are. Do it now because what's coming next will leave you speechless. Mr. Carter is about to teach these salesmen something they'll never forget, and you're going to want to be here to see it. Like, subscribe, comment your city, and let's continue." Derek stood up from his desk and walked toward them with measured steps. His laugh was more contained than Marcus's, but equally dismissive. Jason appeared from the back, crossing his arms over his chest as he observed the scene with a mocking smile. The three formed a semicircle around Mr. Carter like predators surrounding easy prey. 8 cars, Marcus repeated, wiping away a tear of laughter. "Sir, do you know how much just one of these 7 Series costs? We're talking about over $95,000 each. That's more than $750,000 total." Mr. Carter didn't respond. He simply kept looking at the white sedan, caressing the metal like someone greeting an old friend. That calmness unsettled the salesman, but they interpreted it as confusion from a lost elderly man. "Look," Derek intervened with a professional but cold tone, "we understand these cars are impressive, but this isn't a museum. If you don't have a registered rental company or business fleet, we can't even begin the quote process." "I have a company," Mr. Carter said without turning around. 247 vehicles currently active. Need 8 more now." Now it was Jason who let out a short, dry laugh. He adjusted his glasses and took a step forward. 247 units, and you come here dressed like that?" Jason said. "Sir, with all due respect, owners of large fleets arrive with drivers, with assistants, with accountants. They don't walk in alone with a torn backpack." "The backpack isn't torn," Mr. Carter replied, finally turning to look at him. "It just has a lot of stories. Like me." Something in his voice made Jason frown. There was a firmness there, a confidence that didn't match his appearance. But his pride won out. "Listen, we have real clients waiting," Jason said, his voice dripping with condescension. "If you want to waste time, there's a coffee shop 2 blocks down. You can sit there comfortably." Mr. Carter reached into his backpack. The 3 salesmen exchanged nervous glances for a second, but relaxed when he pulled out a yellowed, worn plastic folder. He opened it carefully, like someone handling something valuable, and extracted several folded documents. "This is the deed to my company," he said, extending it toward Jason. "Carter Premium Rentals, founded 38 years ago. Here are the latest financial statements. And this," he added, pulling out another sheet, "is a letter from my bank confirming an approved credit line of $5 million. Jason took the papers skeptically. His eyes scanned the first document quickly, then the second. His expression changed. The color drained from his face like water down a drain. Marcus and Derek noticed the immediate change. "What's wrong?" Marcus asked, trying to see the papers. Jason swallowed hard. His hands trembled, slightly holding the documents. He recognized the bank's logo. It was Bank of America, the same institution where he could barely maintain his checking account without overdrafts. And the figure on that letter was real. Completely real. Mr. Carter, excuse me," he stammered. "We didn't know." "That you judge by clothes," Mr. Carter completed without anger, only sadness in his voice. "That you think money has only one face. That you believe a black man with dirty boots can't have clean hands." The silence that settled was heavy in the dealership. Marcus felt a knot in his stomach. Derek lowered his gaze, unable to hold the serene eyes of that elderly man. Jason tried to regain control of the situation, but his voice came out weak. "Mr. Carter, it was a misunderstanding. Of course we can help you. Would you like to sit in my office? I'll offer you coffee. We can review specifications." "No," Mr. Carter interrupted, taking his documents back and storing them carefully. "I don't want to buy here anymore." He turned on his heels and began walking toward the exit with the same calm he had entered. Each step resonated on the marble floor like a hammer on the pride of those 3 men. Jason reacted first. The commission from 8 BMWs represented more money than he would earn in 4 months combined. "Wait please," he called, running after him. "Mr. Carter, sir, forgive us. We made a terrible mistake. Let us make it right." Mr. Carter stopped at the glass door. He didn't turn around, just spoke looking at the sunny street outside. "Do you know why I come dressed like this? Because this morning I was at the maintenance facility checking the vehicles in my fleet. Why do I get my hands dirty with oil even though I don't need to anymore? Because I don't forget where I come from or who I was. I drove for 40 years before owning my own company. I slept in vehicles, ate cold food at gas stations. And I never treated anyone the way you 3 treated me today." His words fell like stones in still water. Marcus felt true shame for the first time in years. Derek clenched his fists, frustrated with himself. Jason approached more desperately. "You're right. Completely right. We were arrogant, blind, stupid. But please, don't judge us only by this moment. Let us prove we can be better." Mr. Carter finally turned around. His gaze swept over the 3 remorseful faces. There was hardness there, but also something more, something these men didn't expect to find. "I'm not going to buy here," he repeated. "But I'm going to give you something more valuable than my money." "What?" Marcus asked, confused. "A lesson you'll never forget," Mr. Carter responded. "And along the way, I'll show you why humility is worth more than any expensive suit." He walked back into the showroom. The 3 followed him like scolded children. Mr. Carter stood in front of the white 7 Series again and pointed toward the administrative office at the back of the building. "Call your boss. The owner of this dealership. Tell him James Carter is here. And get ready, because what you're about to witness in the next few minutes will teach you something you should have learned long ago." Jason looked at his colleagues with panic in his eyes. The name Carter sounded familiar, very familiar, but he couldn't place it. He pulled out his phone with trembling hands and dialed the owner's number. The phone rang 3 times before a deep voice answered. Jason activated the speakerphone with a shaking hand. "Mr. Harrison, excuse the interruption. "We have a client here who insists on speaking with you. Says his name is James Carter." The silence that followed lasted an eternal 5 seconds. Then, the owner's voice exploded with a mixture of surprise and emotion. "James Carter? The James Carter is at my dealership? Why the hell are you just calling me now? I'll be there in 12 minutes. Don't you dare let him leave." The call ended abruptly. Jason stared at the phone like it was a strange object. Marcus and Derek exchanged looks of complete confusion. Mr. Carter watched the scene with a neutral expression, neither enjoying their discomfort nor taking pity on them. "He's on his way," Jason murmured, putting away his phone. "Mr. Carter, would you like to sit while you wait?" "I'm fine here," Mr. Carter replied, once again caressing the 7 Series Fender. "This model has the turbocharged inline-6 engine, correct? 335 horsepower. Excellent torque for highway performance." Marcus blinked in surprise. That level of technical knowledge wasn't common. He didn't even know those details without consulting specifications. Derek cleared his throat, trying to recover some professionalism. "That's correct, sir. Does your company specialize in luxury vehicle rentals?" "Premium rentals," Mr. Carter responded. "But I started with just one used sedan 38 years ago, a Lincoln Town car I bought with loans from 3 different friends. I slept in that car to save hotel money. Ate once a day. Every dollar I earned, I invested in maintenance or saved for the second vehicle." His voice was calm, without drama, but each word painted a vivid picture of sacrifice and determination. Marcus felt a weight in his chest. He complained when he had to stay overtime at the dealership. How long did it take to buy the second car? Marcus asked almost involuntarily. 4 years, Mr. Carter said with a small smile. 4 years of not seeing my family more than 2 days a month, of driving 14-hour shifts, of repairing whatever broke myself on the road. But when I bought that second car, I cried like a child because it meant I wasn't alone in this anymore. I was building something real. Derek swallowed hard. His own story was so different. He had entered sales because he liked suits and the idea of making quick money. He had never built anything from scratch. Never sacrificed so much for a dream. "And how did you get to 247 units?" Derek asked with genuine curiosity. "Step by step," Mr. Carter responded. "One vehicle at a time. Never got into more debt than I could pay. Never spent on unnecessary luxuries. Lived in the same small house for 22 years. My wife, may she rest in peace, mended my clothes when they tore instead of buying new ones. People saw us at the grocery store and thought we were poor. But we were investing every cent in the future." The mention of his wife brought a shadow of sadness to his eyes. Jason noticed how he gripped his backpack strap tightly, as if seeking comfort in something familiar. How long ago?" Jason asked softly. 3 years, Mr. Carter responded. 48 years together. She never asked me for luxuries, just that I come home safe. She said material things leave, but time together stays in the heart. She was right. Now I have money to buy whatever I want, but I'd give it all for one more hour with her. The silence that followed was different, not uncomfortable, but respectful. The 3 salesmen, for the first time since Mr. Carter entered, truly saw him. Not his clothes, not his appearance, but the man who had built an empire from nothing and remained humble despite everything. The roar of a powerful engine interrupted the moment. A jet-black BMW X7 M50i stopped abruptly in front of the dealership. From it emerged a man around 58 years old, perfectly groomed hair, impeccable navy blue suit, Italian leather shoes shining like mirrors. Charles Harrison, owner of the largest luxury car dealership network on the West Coast, entered almost running, his eyes immediately seeking Mr. Carter. "Mr. Carter," he exclaimed with an enormous smile. "What an honor to have you here. I apologize for not being here when you arrived." He walked directly to the elderly man and extended his hand with genuine respect. Mr. Carter shook it firmly. The 3 salesmen watched the scene, unable to believe what they were seeing. Their boss, the most demanding and proud man they knew, was practically revering this elderly man in worn clothes. "Charles," Mr. Carter greeted. "I came to buy 8 units. But your salesman taught me something interesting today." Harrison tensed immediately. He turned to Jason, Marcus, and Derek with eyes that promised consequences. "What happened?" he asked in a dangerously calm voice. "They judged me by my clothes," Mr. Carter explained before anyone could respond. "Treated me like I was a homeless person wandering in. Told me to go to a coffee shop if I wanted to waste time." Harrison's face went from pale to intense red in seconds. He looked at his 3 employees with contained fury that made Marcus step back. "Is that true?" he asked with a tense voice. "Sir, we tried to explain," Jason began. "Tried to explain what?" Harrison interrupted. "That you don't know you should treat all clients with respect? That you didn't know appearances are deceiving?" "Charles," Mr. Carter interrupted, raising a hand. "I didn't come here for you to fire them. I came to give them a lesson." Harrison stopped, confused. Mr. Carter walked to the center of the showroom where everyone could see him clearly. His presence, previously ignored, now commanded total attention. 30 years ago, he began, I walked into a dealership similar to this one. I was dressed just like today because I'd come from checking my first car. A young salesman treated me exactly like they treated me today. Humiliated me, threw me out. And I left with my money to another dealership where an older salesman received me with coffee and respect. He paused, letting the story sink in. "Do you know what happened to that salesman who rejected me?" No one responded. Everyone waited for the answer. "Nothing," Mr. Carter said. "He kept judging people by their clothes, kept losing clients. Today he works at a much smaller place, wondering why he never succeeded. The other salesman, the one who treated me well, is now a partner in his own dealership. Life rewards humility, not arrogance." Marcus felt the words like direct blows to his conscience. Derek lowered his gaze, genuinely ashamed for the first time in years. Jason clenched his fists, not from anger but frustration with himself. Mr. Carter looked directly at Harrison. "Don't fire them. But make sure they remember this day. Because the next person who walks through that door dressed like me could be their biggest client. Or could be someone who just needs a bit of human respect." Harrison nodded slowly, processing each word. Then he looked at his 3 employees with an expression mixing disappointment and determination. "You're lucky Mr. Carter is more generous than I am," he said firmly. "From today forward, every client who enters through that door will be treated with the same respect, no matter how they're dressed." "Understood." "Yes, sir," the 3 responded in unison, voices barely audible. Mr. Carter turned again toward the BMWs. He walked slowly among them, touching each one, examining details only an expert eye would notice. He stopped in front of 8 vehicles, 3 white 7 Series, 2 black X5s, 2 blue 5 Series, and 1 silver M4. "These 8, he announced, pointing at each methodically. "I want complete specifications, delivery times, and the best quote you can offer me." Harrison snapped his fingers at Jason. "Bring the technical folders. Now." Jason ran to his office. Marcus and Derek remained motionless, not knowing what to do. Mr. Carter looked at them with an expression no longer hard, but almost paternal. "You have talent for sales," he told them. "I saw it in how you move, how you speak. But talent without humility is like a car without brakes. It can go fast at first, but ends up crashing." Marcus found the courage to speak. "Mr. Carter, I have no excuse for how I treated you. My father always told me that judging people by appearance was ignorant. And today I was exactly that, ignorant." His voice broke slightly. They weren't tears, but there was real emotion there. Mr. Carter observed him carefully. "Your father worked in transportation?" he asked. "Auto mechanic," Marcus responded. "His whole life. Died 2 years ago. He always told me to respect the working class because they moved the world while others just talked. Today he would have been ashamed of me." Mr. Carter nodded slowly. He put a hand on the young salesman's shoulder. "Your father was right. But the important thing isn't the mistake you made today. It's what you do tomorrow and every day after. The true test of character isn't never falling, it's how you get up after." Derek stepped forward. His face showed the internal struggle of a proud man facing his own mediocrity. "I've been in sales for 18 years, he said with a hoarse voice. "Cars, boats, luxury goods. I always prided myself on being the best. But today I realize that being good at selling means nothing if you're a bad human being. I apologize, Mr. Carter. Truly. Mr. Carter studied the 46-year-old man in front of him. He saw something familiar in those eyes, the arrogance that comes from years of small successes, the same he himself had fought decades ago. An apology is a beginning, he responded. But words are cheap. It's actions that count. Next time someone enters with humble clothes, what will you do? I'll treat them like I should have treated you, Derek responded without hesitation. No, Mr. Carter corrected. You'll treat them like a human being who deserves respect. Not because of who they might be, but because of who they are. That's the difference between fear and decency. Jason returned carrying several thick folders. He placed them on a nearby display table and began opening them with hands that no longer trembled as much. For the next 25 minutes, Mr. Carter reviewed each specification with engineering precision. He asked about torque, fuel consumption, maintenance intervals, extended warranties. He knew each answer before they gave it, but let Jason explain them. It was a way of giving him a chance to redeem himself. Harrison watched, fascinated. This man, with his worn clothes and old backpack, was more professional than many suited executives who called themselves successful. What delivery time frame do you handle? Mr. Carter asked, closing the last folder. 35 days for standard units, Jason responded. But for an order of 8 vehicles, I can expedite the process. 25 days maximum. Mr. Carter shook his head. I don't need you to rush anything. I prefer you do things right rather than fast. 35 days is perfect. My current fleet can cover operations until then. He pulled out his phone and dialed. Williams, it's Carter. Yeah, found the units we need. 8 BMWs in excellent configuration. Can you review the technical specs I'm sending you? Good. See you tomorrow at the office. He hung up and looked at Harrison. My fleet manager will review everything tonight. If he gives approval, I'll come tomorrow with my accountant and we'll close the deal. Sound good? Perfect, Harrison responded. It will be an honor doing business with you, Mr. Carter. They shook hands. Mr. Carter stood with a small groan from tired knees, adjusted his backpack, and looked at the 3 salesmen one last time. I hope this serves you, he told them. Not just as a professional lesson, but personal. The world needs more empathy and less judgment, more respect and less arrogance. And believe me, life has very curious ways of teaching you this if you don't learn it the easy way. He began walking toward the exit. Harrison accompanied him. The 3 salesmen watched from inside, still processing everything. What they saw next left them speechless. Mr. Carter walked to an old pickup truck, faded white color, with dents in the doors and a windshield repaired with tape. He opened the door with effort, got in, started the engine that coughed twice before stabilizing, and waved goodbye to Harrison. Marcus felt his legs fail. That man who had just committed over $750,000 in new BMWs was driving a truck probably not worth $4,000. Derek put his hands to his head. Jason simply closed his eyes, letting the final lesson penetrate deep. Harrison returned with a serious expression. Did you see that truck? James Carter could buy 100 luxury vehicles tomorrow if he wanted. But he drives that old pickup because it reminds him where he came from. Because he doesn't need to impress anyone. Because his real wealth isn't in what he shows, but in what he built. He paused. That man is worth more than all of us combined. Not because of his money, but because of his character. He turned to head to his office, but stopped. Tomorrow he's coming to close the biggest sale of the month. I want all 3 of you to serve him. To prove you learned something today. And if I ever hear again that you treated someone badly because of their appearance, there won't be a second chance. Understood? Yes, sir, the 3 responded. The next day, at exactly 10 a.m., Mr. Carter returned with his accountant and fleet manager. The 3 salesmen had prepared everything meticulously. Fresh coffee, folders perfectly organized, contracts reviewed 3 times. Good morning, Mr. Carter, Marcus greeted with genuine respect. It's an honor to have you here again. For 2 hours they worked together. When they finally signed the last document, Mr. Carter shook each one's hand. Good work, he told them. This is what should have happened yesterday. But I'm glad it happened today. It means you truly learned something. As he left, the three salesmen accompanied him to his old pickup with true respect. They watched him leave, the engine coughing, the rusted body shining under the sun. "He's the richest man I've ever met," Marcus said quietly. "And the most humble." "That's because he understands something it took us a humiliation to learn," Derek added. "That a person's value has nothing to do with what they wear or drive." Jason looked at his colleagues. "From today on, every client who enters through that door will receive the same treatment. Not because they might be rich, but because they're human beings who deserve respect." "Agreed." The three clasped hands in a silent pact. 3 months later, Marcus served a young man in work clothes who asked about financing. He offered coffee, treated him with respect. The young man returned with his father, a transportation businessman who bought 6 BMWs. Derek stopped judging completely. Jason became the best manager in the region by training his team with Mr. Carter's lesson. And Mr. Carter continued driving his old pickup, sleeping in his small house, treating everyone with dignity. Because he had learned long ago that true wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by who you are when no one is watching.